Okay, so we are getting close, and we're only one block left now. So we will start to see, well, firstly, we'll see if there are any sends to a taproot address in the next block, and then from then we may see some taproot spends after that block. But firstly, we'll see how long it takes for this block to be mined and which mining pool mines it. So yeah, so the last block was mined by Ample, and we don't know who will mine the taproot activation block. There are a lot of taproot transactions now on 0xB10C's live stream. There are a lot. So does that mean they seem to be coming in very quickly? So does that mean it's activated? No. Oh, so these are just transactions going into the mempool now, I think. This flood of transactions. And they are paid to taproot inputs. So does that mean let's ask on chat. How so yeah, as Greg says in the chat, lots of these transactions aren't lock timed. So I think a lot of these transactions could get stolen by miners, because you don't want to be sending any funds to a taproot address before taproot is activated, because there anyone can spend. So miners, in theory, could steal all of these non-time locked taproot outputs. And Greg's saying on the chat, can you scroll through and see if any of the non-locked time ones are high value? So this is what 0xB10C actually did. Let's just get, so 0xB10C did spend some long ago. So he did need to submit them directly to miners, but they're effectively anyone can spend, because the taproot rules aren't being enforced until 0.69632. So that was, I think that was the first time there'd been a, well, no, I don't actually know that. I don't know what happened to Segment, but he was one of the only people who spent from a paid taproot output before activation. So let's see. I think Greg is joking by saying he's going to do a diabolical reorg. But yeah, we'll wait to see how much money could be claimed by the miners from all these taproot outputs before it's activated. Okay. Yeah. So still waiting. Let's just follow the chat in the 0xB10C's live stream. I've just put the Zoom call anywhere, so I don't know who's going to show first. welcome to people who have joined. According to Greg, these taproot outputs are over $20,000 in total, which is a decent amount of money. I see it's going to be a reorg because the taproot rules are going to apply next block. So what Greg is saying is that unlike 0xB10C, who didn't have to create a reorg because he did it months before activation, because we're now literally one block before activation, the rules will be applied on the next block. So that's why Greg is saying in that chat that it would actually need a reorg now to be able to spend those taproot outputs, because there are going to be no more blocks. So thanks for people joining. Can you mute if you join the call?
Dude, why is my name still Paul?
I don't know. Can you mute?
Oh, sorry.
Otherwise I'm going to mute. It's okay.
Hey, I was about to say, you can mute him if you need to.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Okay, so we're waiting for this block. 6 minutes and a half since the last block. Could come anytime, and then we will see tons and tons, I suspect, of taproot spends, maybe from these outputs that people have put up, or certainly payments to a taproot address. That is assuming that the miner is enforcing taproot rules. If the miner is not enforcing taproot rules, then
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
About how taproot basically makes it more private. Do you know like the in-depth details of that?
Yes, very high level. It's not more private for just like a normal spend, but if you've got like a complicated script with like multi-sig and time locks and things, then you don't have to reveal the full script on spending. So it's really good for privacy if you have like a smart contract or a complex script. But in terms of just like a normal single signature spend, there is no privacy benefit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No worries. So yeah, we're just waiting for this next block to come in. But yeah, any other questions? Shoot while we wait. So a bad case scenario that could happen here is that the block that is mined next by the miner who mines the next block doesn't apply taproot rules, and an invalid taproot spend sneaks into that block, because that'll create a reorg, which isn't an emergency, but it will be disruptive, especially if the reorg gets quite big and we start to have a number of blocks with some invalid taproot spends in them. But yeah, that should be, if something like that happens, that should be flagged by fork monitor. So I've got fork monitor up. I've got a block explorer at member.space. I'll get another block explorer up as well. Streams one up. Okay, it's a lot of messages in the chat. Just see them. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the chat. So yeah. Yeah, so the talk in the chat of 0xB10C's channel is just on lock, whether there's lock times on some of these taproot outputs, because they really should be lock timed until the block that taproot activates, which is the next block 009632. Okay. So yeah, so now we're 12 minutes since the last block, so we're over the average, but it really could come in any time, and then we'll see if taproot activates smoothly, which is certainly the expectation. But even though miners signaled for taproot months ago, we don't actually know what software they'll be running today, and if they will be enforcing taproot rules. Okay. Be nice to each other in the chat, please. I don't know why people are arguing.
Just one question, like the right side of the stream that you can see, are those transactions only the operator transactions or the in general transactions that are considered in the block?
So on the live stream that we've got up, 0xP10Cs,
yes.
The transactions in that second column,
Yeah.
either have taproot, either taproot outputs or they're spending from taproot outputs. Okay. So they're taproot related. So yeah, they should, unless they're time locked, they should be waiting for this taproot activation block that's coming.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
But as they say in the chat, some of them aren't time locked, so that means that they're effectively anyone can spend, and a miner could spend them and effectively steal the money in those taproot addresses. You don't want to be sending to, you don't want to be sending to a taproot address before activation. So yeah, any other questions? Go for it. Oh, and it's nice, 0xP10C has got the op returns in as well. So you've got, someone put good morning taproot in the op return. That must be someone working on the Bitcoin dev kit project. So yeah, I suspect there'll be a lot of op returns coming as well, as people celebrate or try to get an op return message into Bitcoin history. So Peter says there are a number of taproot transaction in pools now, as we'd expect. Taproot transactions. So we're just waiting for the miner to mine a block with some taproot transactions in it. But yeah, it's good that there's lots of taproot transactions, so we'll be able to see. Someone's asked, can you talk about how this will help with smart contracts on Bitcoin? So there's two aspects. There's straw signatures in this upgrade, and there's taproot, which is like a Merkle tree of scripts. The straw signature part allows various improvements, including doing multi-sig with only one signature going on chain. That's called musig. So having this new signature scheme opens the door to a number of improvements like that. And then taproot allows you to put lots of different alternative scripts into a Merkle tree. You could do the same contract before taproot, but this is much better for privacy because you're only revealing the piece of the fragment of the script that you spend. And it's also great for block savings because this massive script doesn't have to go on chain. You just have to prove that the piece or the fragment of the script that you're spending from is within this Merkle tree of leaf scripts. So yeah, at a high level, that's how it helps with smart contracts. It doesn't bring too much new functionality, but it's really great for privacy and block space savings if you're doing anything more than a single signature spend. So yeah, it's been a wait. It's 17 minutes now since the last block. In terms of comments on the YouTube, don't think there's anything apart from that. Anyone on the call, feel free to ask a question, otherwise I'm going to keep the Xerox P10C chat up. And yeah, so we are 18 minutes since the last block. And taproot has activated. So the block has been mined. The block's been mined by F2 pool. And now we will see if there were taproot transactions in this block. I'm assuming there were. Let's open the block up. There's some fireworks on mempool.space. So this is the block. It's just been mined 09632. And what we're looking for is, so taproot addresses are going to start with BC1P. SegWit version 0 is BC1Q. So if you look at this transaction, it's a SegWit version 0 output that's being sent to a taproot. So this is not return, this is called morning taproot. But that's Bitcoin being sent to a taproot output. Let's see. Let's see if there were. Let's see what else in that block. So presumably F2 is enforcing taproot rules. In which case, if there may be a taproot spend from one of those premature taproot outputs we were talking about when they sent money to a taproot output earlier than they should have done, or at least it should have been had a lock time on it. But yeah, let's see if there were any taproot spends in that block. Seems so Greg has said that block didn't confirm any taproot spends. Oh gosh, he suggests that F2 signaling is fake. Right, yeah, I suppose it does. Well, fake's a strong word, but perhaps they weren't enforcing taproot rules in that block. Because there would have been high fee. Yeah, and it's been confirmed 0xP10C says yes, no pay to taproot spends in 09 in that block. So that is interesting. Why did F2 not include some of the high fee taproots? Presumably they were high fee. Presumably there were high fee. So this is very interesting. I'm glad we've got something to chat about for for activation. So yeah, what happened with F2? They've mined the taproot block, but we think there are some juicy fees to take from taproot spends, and they didn't include them in the block. So why didn't they? Interesting times. So Peter said in the chat, his crediting transaction was mined, but the spending one wasn't. So let's just ask if so Peter had a spend transaction from a taproot output with 100 Satoshi per V-byte fee rate, which is very high, and it wasn't mined. So questions galore on F2. What's happening at F2? Greg is also saying he'd like to see spends confirmed before we call it activated for real. That is definitely true. So it's interesting. So we've reached the block that we defined for when taproot rules are enforced. That block has been mined, yet the miner who mined that block has not included these juicy taproot spend fees in that block. So the question is F2 enforcing taproot rules? And I suppose we will see if they mine another block, and then we'll see if taproot spends are included in that block. It may just be Andrew Charles' send transactions also mined, but not the spend. Okay, this is getting interesting. Greg says, the odds of an invalid block reorg go way up. So we could be on course for a reorg. And basic explanation of a reorg is we just don't know, like there's kind of like two branches of the chain, and we don't know, there's blocks being mined on top of each other that are in competition with the other branch of blocks that are being mined on top of each other. And so there's uncertainty over like which of those branches of the chain are like the actual chain. And you kind of have to wait to see it play out and see whether blocks are mined on top of which branch of the chain. I'm trying not to say fork, because fork's quite has a different meaning in Bitcoin. But yeah, it certainly gets a little messy when there are reorgs, and we may be on course for a reorg here, given that we think F2 pool is not enforcing taproot rules, or at least maybe it was just a conservative play. Maybe it was just they didn't want to risk, they didn't really know, I don't know, what they were doing, or didn't want to risk putting taproot spends in until, I don't know, until they knew that they were enforcing them correctly. It's cool. You kind of have to speculate what's going on when minor pool's minor pool. Welcome to all the people joining the call. Please stay on mute unless you want to say something. Welcome to ask a question or a comment. At the moment, we're just following, hey. At the moment, we're just waiting for the next block, because even though taproot is activated and we've reached the block that was defined for when taproot rules should be enforced, there weren't any actual taproot spends in that block. There were just transactions sent to the taproot address, but no spends from a taproot address. So what's happening in the chat? Yeah, so this is kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, we don't know what's happening internally with F2 pool. Peter's saying there may be parts of the infrastructure not relaying paid to taproot spends. So I mean, you kind of have to just, we're kind of like speculating what's going on like behind the scenes at F2 pool. Okay, so there's now been another block mined. So let's see. So this one was mined by Ant pool. And let's see if there are some taproot spends in this block. There's no taproot spends in this block. Things, oh, I think his live stream's gone down, is it? No. Okay, still not, oh gosh.
This one guy has his nose to syndicate.
I'm gonna,
please
mute.
Hey, whoa.
Hello, sir. I have a question.
Hey, yo, London, you're muted too, bro.
Okay, thanks whoever told me that. A lot of people joining the call, and some of them may be drunk, etc. and loud, or at least loud. So let's just check this block, because if I don't think there are, it looks like there's no taproot spends in this block. And if there isn't. We really could be on course for a reorg.
Is this real?
So this is not great. So it looks like there's now been 2 blocks mined.
I have a
By
question.
F2, Paul. Yeah, go for it. Quickly though, please.
I'm sorry. How do you? So if you want to use Bitcoin, you have to insert the coins to your phone or no?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, I couldn't hear that, so I couldn't hear that. The line's bad. Some strange people joining the call. Okay.
Sure. I have a question. Sure. I have a question about college.
I know a bit about college. I think I could help.
Okay, let's just end this.
Yeah, your shit got raided or something, bro. All right. I appreciate the live stream.
I'm gonna end this call
Barty
because
has
it's